happen to them.
18 years after the attacks, 18 years since the war on terror began, how far have we come since then? Where is there to go? I spoke with Chris Purdy, who served in Iraq. He enlisted back in 2004 and got his insight today. Chris, it's 9/11. Looking back 18 years, we know the war on terror started then. Unofficially that day, soon it was passed by Congress. It continues to this day. How is the war on terror going?
That's a very difficult question to answer. There's so many different aspects to what would go into the war on terror. If you're asking me, how the war in Afghanistan is going, I would say it's basically a stalemate, and it's going to require a lot more than a military solution to solve it. If you're looking broader, how are we doing in combating terrorism in general? I would actually contend that we're doing quite well, and in the fact that you haven't had a major terrorist attack like anything near 9/11. You've had smaller lone wolf actors here in the United States who have conducted terrorist attacks in the name of an ideology. Europe obviously has had their struggles over the past few years with some ISIS-inspired attacks as well. But we haven't had anything near a 9/11 attack or an Oklahoma City attack or even the first World Trade Center attack.
What do you attribute that to? Our military, our intel agencies, the White House all working in concert, more of a mind toward prevention now?
Yeah, so the military is just one tool in a way to defeat terrorism. The intelligence, our intelligence allies throughout the world, working closely with them so that we're able to, basically have a full scope of all of the threats that are facing our shared democracies. Diplomacy is a huge factor, making sure that America is seen as a willing partner and a leader in the world, and somebody who can come to any situation with some legitimacy, and that helps us on the ground, where people see America as a beacon of hope. They're less likely to take up arms against this idea of the American Satan.
You are now a veteran, but you work with people in the military and veterans. I wonder at this point what their feeling is about our continued military engagements abroad when it comes to terrorism.
Some people will say, yes, we need to pull everybody out, focus on nation building at home. That's something you hear quite often. Others will say we've made progress and gains and we need to protect those gains. I think we fall somewhere in the middle, personally. I would love to see these conflicts come to a close. However, peace for peace's sake is not something that I think we should just do. We've made significant progress in Afghanistan, for example, on women's rights, on the rights of minorities. And to just give that over to the Taliban without any type of guarantees that those rights will be protected would be a dangerous mistake and a return to the 90s and 80s, the trauma that we saw there. In addition, we know that when there is a civil war or sectarian conflict, the most successful way to resolve that is through some sort of peace and reconciliation commission. I'm thinking of Colombia, for example, recently. Northern Ireland, for example, went through their own process of sectarian violence in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So having a way that the actors involved can come together, work out their problems diplomatically without the fear of there being a return to violence is really important to solving that.
It's a process and ongoing. The war in Afghanistan has been contentious, although less so than Iraq. According to a Gallup poll, about 43% of Americans last month say it was a mistake to send troops there. But 52%, the majority of Americans, still support that decision. Let's take a look at the broader picture of U.S. global affairs. Aside from terrorism, where do Americans stand on global intervention?